Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, May 14th. Economic data is on tap today as markets seem to be in a holding pattern. Yesterday, markets were muted and ultimately ended mixed. The Nasdaq added 47 points or 0.29%. The Dow shed 81 points or 0.21%. The S&P 500 closed essentially flat, dropping 1 point or 0.02%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're flat to lower right now. We're down 0.01%. I mean, we were higher. Now we're a little lower. We're waiting for the firecracker to go off, and that's really the producer price index. That's the data that's really in focus this morning, and it's due out one hour before the opening bell. Tomorrow, of course, the attention's on the CPI, and that's going to be a big one. Also happening today, I see that Jerome Powell is scheduled to speak this morning. He's going to be talking at a conference at 10 a.m. Joe Biden is going to be speaking today at noon, because remember, earlier this morning around 5:30 a.m. Eastern time, they announced the slate of tariffs on China-made products that are ranging from steel to electric vehicles. So, he's going to be following up on that in his speech today at noon. OPEC, they came out with their monthly report this morning. They kept their 2024 global demand growth forecast at 2.2 million barrels per day. Okay, taking a look overseas, we got the DAX down 20 points or 0.11%. The key thing about Germany is the German ZEW investors confidence data came in for May. It's an early report. It came in at 47.1. And the consensus was 44.9, so that's an uptick. That's good. We're talking about the FTSE. The FTSE's up almost 15 points or 0.18%. Remember, their UK job creation was a little soft this morning. They got that Bank of England, meeting coming up where they're expecting, where it's going to be, pushed towards, lowering rates. The CAC index was lower all morning long. It just turned positive. It's up, 0.03%. So good to see. We're talking last night in Asia, and the Nikkei jumped 176 points. That's about 0.46%. Their producer prices in Japan increased by 0.9% year over year in April. You got Hong Kong. Hong Kong fell 41 points. That's 0.22%. There's talk of stimulus action coming out of China central bank, so that's kind of what they're waiting on. And the Shanghai in China actually fell 2 points, which is 0.07%. Then we're turning our attention over to the oil action this morning, and listen, oil's fallen. It was a little higher, now it's lower. WTI is at $78.91 a barrel. Brent is at $83.17 a barrel. Really what it comes down to is, that OPEC report has them sticking to their oil demand viewpoint. However, they posted a fall in overall output. Now, Saudi Arabia did, show an increase in their oil output, not significantly, but they showed an increase, and that's I'm sure that's gonna be brought up at that June 1 meeting that is going on. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market report, Emily.
Bill, it seems the focus here is a lot on those economic events, obviously the PPI report, some Fed speak. So we're going to get to those in just a moment. Before we get there, we are going to turn to earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings.
Well, the two big ones were Baba and Home Depot. Alibaba, ticker BABA, boy apple. Depending on the estimates, you're looking at they're made by a penny or they missed a penny, but it was done on lower revenue. You look at Alibaba, it's trading all over the place this morning, but I do show it trading a little lower, down by $3.90. Okay. Then you got Home Depot, ticker HD. They beat by 3 cents, but that was done on lower revenue. You look at shares of Home Depot this morning, they're up 0.42%. They were lower. It's going across the board with Home Depot. I wouldn't be surprised if it finishes lower on the day. Upcoming this afternoon, we have Boot Barn, ticker BOOT, boy, Oscar, Tom. EPS is 89 cents. Expected move is 9.87%. Put volumes are elevated. Then you get Next Tracker, ticker NXT, Nancy X-Ray Tom. They're also coming out after the bell. Their EPS is 59 cents. Expected move here is 14.20%. Then you have Monday.com, MNDY, Michael, Nancy, David Yellow. They're releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is 39 cents now. Their expected move is a whopping 14.70%. So that's a big move. It's one to watch when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
Bill, keeping track of all of those, but also keeping track of the economic reports of the day and that Fed speak. So give us a look at what we should be watching when it comes to the day's economic events.
Listen, this morning before the opening bell, the Labor Department's going to be releasing the Producers Price Index for April. That's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The headline is expected to come in at 0.3%, and the pricing components is expected to remain steady at 0.2%. I think it'll come in a little lighter than this. The fact is a PPI reading that's in line or below expectations, would be a bullish factor for the markets, and that's something to keep an eye on. In this producer price index, measurement, it's a big one it's a big part of the the CPE data that the Fed follows. So this is an important report. But then we also have a lot of Fed speak going on today. I mean, at 9:10 a.m., we're going to be hearing from Fed Governor Lisa Cook. At 10 a.m., we're going to be hearing from Federal Reserve Bank Chairman Jerome Powell. And then at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time this evening, Kansas City Fed Bank President Jeffrey Schmidt's going to be speaking. Now, the thing with Jerome Powell is, he's going to be appearing on a panel with the Deutsche Central banker Klaus Knott. Klaus Knott he's a member of the ECB, but I remember back in January he indicated that they're not going to be lowering rates until June, and then here we are 5 months later, and it really looks like a June rate cut is on the table for the ECB. So this could be a very interesting discussion when they start to talk this morning at 10 a.m. Emily.
And again, you're able to watch all of this information because you have NewsWare. You're breaking it down into alerts. You've told us before you have alerts for Fed speak, for Fed officials. Of course, you have your economic alert set up so you can see that PPI report right as it comes out. Those earnings action, there is a special alert just for the latest earnings action. You can also watch other types of news, set up alerts for things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You can search NewsWare for specific stock or company. You can also look at different sectors and segments grouped together, stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, you're watching all of it. What else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I had 16 higher, 10 lower. The rest unchanged, but it's very minimal. You're not seeing any significant, like 1% moves. Visa's having a good morning, but we're not seeing anything crazy going on this morning. And then you're looking at your FANG stocks. Apple's higher, Amazon, Google, Netflix, and Meta are lower. Tesla's trading a little higher this morning. Okay, listen. Apple's up, their supplier Foxconn Q1 profit rebounds, but they missed estimates, but the profit did, increase, so that was good to see. We're talking Google, ticker GOOG. Okay, stock's at 170.80, $170.80 right now. Now they have a developers conference going on today. At 10 o'clock, the CEO is going to be speaking. Now they're expected to announce their efforts on AI. Their AI efforts across its business line. Now, remember, yesterday, OpenAI just demonstrated a new model that works with sound and images. So Google's got to beat that. They got to match it or beat it. So, this could be a positive catalyst for the stock. And right now, if you can get in under 170, that's pretty cheap. So, just keep an eye on it. Meta Platforms, ticker META. They're exploring AI-assisted earphones and cameras, which could be used to identify objects and translate foreign languages. That's big. I kind of like to see that. Surprised Meta's trading a little off this morning with that news. Then we're moving on to Dow Jones 30 stocks. Walmart. Walmart's planning on laying off hundreds of workers and relocating other workers. So you look at it, Walmart's trading a little higher this morning. And then we got Intel, ticker INTC. They're said to be in talks with Apollo for an $11 billion deal to build a chip plant in Ireland. You look at it, Intel shares are up about 0.6% this morning. In terms of merger news, listen, Kraft Heinz, yesterday, stock did have a nice, a pop because, they're reportedly signed a deal with Bank of America, and they're going to be exploring a sale for its Oscar Mayer division. Think of Oscar Mayer. We're talking bacon. We're talking bologna. We're talking hot dogs. This deal could fetch $3 to $5 billion possibly. So it's a good deal for Kraft Heinz. Also, a pretty good payday for Bank of America, I should say. And then what else? In terms of guidance news, Home Depot, they backed their 2024 EPS view up 1%. Consensus is $15.33. International Gaming, ticker IGT, they see Q2 revenue 1.05 billion. Street estimate has it at 1.09 billion. This is a gaming company. They make slot machines. It's a tough business. I mean, those guys. I knew one hedge fund manager that had the majority of his fund invested in this one stock, and he just it took him a long time to be profitable. Let's just be nice and call it that. In terms of shareholders meetings, 3M's having a shareholders meeting today. That's Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, MMM. They're having their annual shareholders meeting today. It starts at 9:30. Expect some press releases here. Same with Honeywell, ticker HON, Henry Oscar Nancy. But their shareholders meeting starts at 10:30 a.m. And Allstate, they're having a shareholders meeting that starts at 12 noon. That's ticker ALL, Apple Larry Larry. In terms of buyback news, MHO, Michael Henry Oscar. This is it. MI Homes, they announced a 250 million share repurchasing authorization yesterday after the bell. But that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape today, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Going with Next Tracker, ticker NXT, Nancy X-Ray Tom. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is 59 cents. Expected move is 14.20%. This is a solar company. Remember, Biden put all those limits on, some tariffs on it, which would be good for Next Tracker. But, you look at yesterday's call volume. You saw 6,813 calls traded versus 1,199 puts. Wow. That's a big ratio. Looking at open interest, 30,588 versus 18,894. Nice ratio. Now, the major brokers are positive on the stock. I mean, the majority of them have buy ratings on it, and they have been raising price targets for the most part. And then I look at last quarter's report where the stock jumped 28% after they released earnings. They did do a guidance raise when they did on last quarter's report. So I think this is poised for gains. It's hard to kind of give you a price target ahead of the PPI report, but if I have to, I'm gonna say 43.20 to 43.55, somewhere in that range. I think would be a good way to get in because I think this could run towards the afternoon ahead of the earnings. So my pick for the day is ticker NXT, Nancy X-Ray Tom, Next Tracker, Emily.
Next Tracker ahead of earnings, looking for that entry point, combining your data, news to make that pick. So we will follow that along with you today. And coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day. So stick with us until the end of the show. But before that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
The big one that I saw early this morning was President Biden unveiling a bundle of steep tariffs increases on an array of Chinese imports, which include electric vehicles, computer chips, medical products. It's being done in an election year. I don't know if China will retaliate or not. We'll have to kind of wait and see. What else do we see here? Wiley, WLY, William Larry Yellow. They're going to be closing 19 journals, 19 papers. Now this is these publication industry. It's a $30 billion dollar a year industry. They got to close 19 journals because of fake science that was disclosed in some of their journals. That's not good. You got to really be careful. The journalism really has to be nonprofit almost at this point. to make sure you're getting factual data. Teva, ticker TEVA. It's reviving, by innovation is a story that's out there today. United Airlines, this is a nice one. United Airlines expects Memorial Day holiday, traffic to hit a record. STLA, Stellantis-led joint venture, Leap Motor International begins operations. Ascendis Pharma, that's ticker ASND, Apple Sam Nancy David. They got a PDUFA date that's today for their hormone replacement therapy, something to watch for. Alibaba expects primary listing in Hong Kong by the end of August. Starbucks, a National Labor Relations Board judge, has opted not to delve into Starbucks' claims that the agency structure is unconstitutional. Boeing union leaders and U.S. lawmakers, of course, yesterday criticized Boeing's lockout of its unionized firefighters, urging the plane makers to reach a contract deal. Rumble, they're suing Alphabet again, saying they lost money, billions of dollars in revenue because of Alphabet's ad tech dominance. Uber, ticker URB, they announced a $1.25 billion deal to take over Delivery Hero's Food Panda business in Taiwan. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Stone & Co. They did report earnings yesterday. The company reported Q1 EPS of $1.42. That was 2 cents below analyst estimates of $1.44, but that was compared to 75 cents at the same time last year. The adjusted net income of $450 million represented a 90% growth compared to the same time last year. Revenue for the quarter came in at $3.08 billion versus the consensus of $3.1 billion. And that was versus $2.71 billion last year. This is a 14% year-over-year growth. The company called it a consistent quarter. Not a terrible report here. There is some conversion with the currency. But you were trading this one ahead of earnings, taking that 1% if you saw it. Bill, how did your call work out?
It worked out. I mean, it was really about the entry price. I mean, that really is, this one was nothing to write home about. I knew that going into it. But it did work out because the stock opened up at $16.80. And then it fell down to $16.56. Now, I said, listen, entry price $16.50, $16.60, somewhere in there. $16.56, that's right in the middle. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. So even if you got in at $16.70, there's an opportunity for a gain because the stock actually ran all the way up to $16.94 during the day, during the morning. So yeah, the 1% was definitely there. It's not an expensive stock, so it's not like, a lot to write home about. What was the move? Was a 1% move gain of there yesterday? Absolutely, positively it was. Don't care. I had no plans on holding it into earnings, but Stone Container, ticker STNE, was a winner yesterday, Emily.
Bill, definitely a win there. And you did tell us you weren't going to hold it into earnings if you got that gain. And, on a day where there wasn't a lot of moves, you got a move there and a win. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's next tracker pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.